This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Hello, my friends. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night, even. Hope we're all doing well today. On this Monday, though late into the day it is. Hope we're all doing well. Good night, isn't that an interesting little term? It's a term used more for departure and departing. It's pretty much the only one with that sole intent. Good morning is a greeting. Good afternoon is a greeting. Good evening is a greeting. But good night is kind of like goodbye. And it's that way because, well, most people go to sleep at night. But I know there's many of you night owls who are wide awake, as am I, when the sun sets. So good night is, of course, when used now, a greeting. An uncommon one, though, but a greeting nonetheless. So I hope we're all doing well today. On this Monday, June the 9th, I believe it to be. And I broke tradition. I know I did. You don't need to go off on me too much, because I'm acknowledging it. I usually upload the VORW before I upload the review, but that was not the case today. I had stuff to do this afternoon. Yeah, stuff to do, alright? But I wasn't feeling it this afternoon, so I did the review first, and I put that up. And now I sit here. The sun is down. I took my night walk and figure now's the best time to record. So I thank all of you for being here. And I thank all of you for listening and for your continued support. And for that I extend my gratitude. So I got a little story for you before we delve into our mailbag and see what the word from fans is today. So I got a little story for you, and I hope you could listen. So let's go into another room. It's a little loud in here. Let's go into the main room. There's a moth. Hello, moth. You're outside, I'm inside. Anyway. So I have a little story for you. I did, what some people would consider to be the most American thing you can do. If you recall me talking about various sports. I know an individual asked me about them. Said I'm a fan of baseball, football americano. And then unusually, I'm a big NASCAR fan. And I'll say this now since it's over. Recently, this Sunday the 8th, and Saturday the 7th, Saturday we actually drove out to Pocono, Pennsylvania. Me and my father went out to Pocono, Pennsylvania. Went to a hotel, spent the night there, and Sunday, we went over to Pocono Super Speedway, Pocono Raceway, in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, and we attended a NASCAR race there, and I thought that was pretty awesome, actually. It's been a tradition of mine to go to the, used to be called the Pocono 500, now I think it was called like the Go Bowling 400 or something. But it's been a tradition to attend the race at Pocono. I've done so for the past 7 or 8 years now. Might be 8 years now. We started in either 06 or 07 going, and been going ever since. And it's a pretty awesome experience, actually, to go to a NASCAR race. It's certainly a unique experience to see all sorts of people there. But it was very nice. It was very interesting to be at. And to watch the race, right there in person. I always watch the races on TV, but it was quite nice to be there, on the stands. We were up top. I think it's called the Terrace Club or something, where you get a little overhang and you get free food and stuff. So I didn't have to. I was out of the sun there, and you had a full view of the racetrack. But one amusing thing about NASCAR, if you've ever watched any car race, at that, is you completely underestimate how loud those cars are until you're actually there. I mean, those cars are some of the loudest things I've ever heard. It's an ear-piercing noise, and they sell earplugs and all that stuff. But I always go at least the first 10 laps or a few laps after a restart, just to fully grasp how loud the cars truly are. There were a few accidents, and what's also kind of amusing is whenever there's an accident, this one driver, Casey Kane, crashed into the wall, and his car caught fire. Whenever there's an accident like that, literally half the crowd just gets on their feet and starts applauding the carnage, and I always get a kick out of that. And then half the people just go there to see the crashes, and I don't blame them, but it's a whole experience. Of course, tons of alcohol is consumed there. But that's another thing. I don't drink. But, there's this one drunk guy who was there. He was sitting there in the stands, and he was yelling at everyone, and this one woman came over, this one woman, she was, I guess, giving out the tickets or whatever, showing people their seats. He was saying, "Hey, have a seat over here," and he pointed over to his lap, and she actually sat down there. And I thought, oh, alright. This big, good old big drunk guy. But it's typical. I saw more pickup trucks than you could count, and I even saw a few Confederate flags still flying high and proud. The infield, actually, where all the RVs and all the campers and the typical, stereotypical NASCAR fans congregate, was fuller than it was in previous years. Which I suppose was a good thing, attendance was booming. But I remember the first year we actually went over to NASCAR was something. Now with the advent of social media and all of that, NASCAR has become more popular among, middle-class Americans. So there's more, if you would willingly say, normal people there at a NASCAR race. At least the Pocono one. But back in 2007 or 2006 when we first went there, smartphones, I don't even know if they existed back then, or if they did, they really weren't that popular. Social media was pretty much non-existent back then. Funny to think. And when we first went, that's when it was a circus there. It was almost entirely, stereotypical drunk, hillbillies and rednecks and good old country boys. There were guys sitting there in the back of their pickup trucks while we were driving in, just drinking beers profusely, guys yelling at women to expose themselves. There was this one big fat guy eating raw shrimp out of a bag. I'll never forget that. But, for the economy as it is, and with the advent of social media, NASCAR is becoming more popular among the general public, and although these people, of course, still go to the race, there's just less of them. Or maybe they're just more diluted, into the crowds than they once were. I mean, those guys are still there, though. I remember in the hotel we were at, out in the parking lot, there were a few NASCAR fans tailgating the night before, and they were out there in the parking lot smoking cigarettes and drinking beers, and they had all their pickup trucks lined up, and they had a whole cookout going, and they were there at least from 5 p.m. until midnight, just drinking beers and having burgers and all that stuff. And I thought, well, that's dedication for you. And it was amusing. I don't even know. I don't think these guys even get hungover after all that drinking, because I saw them the next morning already setting up and drinking a few more beers. I find that interesting. It must be a very high tolerance to alcohol. So that's my little story for you. Anyway, let's check out today's fan mail, and let's see what's in our mailbag today. From YouTube inbox to Reddit. You know, talking about Tumblr, I was surprised, actually, to find out the extent of my fan base there, and I was thinking, part of me says, maybe I should get to know the site a little more. Because, I always want to see, I want to communicate to my fans to the fullest. So part of me says, maybe I should get to know the site a little better. But another part of me says, this site, unlike Reddit and unlike the YouTube inbox, it's like people's personal blogs almost. And I'd feel kind of bad looking at them and reading them and any of that. So I don't think I'm going to do any of that. So if anyone from Tumblr wants to really contact me, I won't visit them. I'll just, I'll respect their privacy, and you could just send me a message on YouTube. So without further ado, let's see what's in today's mailbag. Alright, so let's read today's fan mail. Alright, let's accompany it with some music. Hopefully you won't be able to hear it. But I'm gonna start things off with Reg Owen and his orchestra, Manhattan Spirit. So start off with that. Let's let's read some fan mail, okay? Fan art submission. Drew some fan art for you. Thanks for making so many great videos. I think you're pretty cool. And I have a question. Do you think you'll ever do a live stream? I think it would be so much fun. I've thought about doing a live stream, and I might do it in the future. So stay optimistic. But, a live stream is a difficult thing to do. You're put on the spot, really. And if you don't know what to say or what to do, you're going to look like an idiot. So I suppose confidence is key, which, at times I could, lack, I guess. Hey bud, I saw your annotation on your most recent VORW, and I just wanted to share a thought with you for whatever it's worth. I've been watching your videos for about half a year now. Admittedly, when I first started watching your videos, I found them a bit goofy. You were certainly a character, and I wasn't sure how to react. 6 months later, as I watch your videos pretty much daily, I'm a huge fan of ASMR videos as well. And while I wouldn't consider you to do ASMR, I find them strangely common. True irony, I suppose, considering that you got your start from reviewing energy drinks. I'm really glad you continue to do what you do, that you have a passion for making videos, and that you do it despite all the BS associated with being a personality on the internet. There are too many garbage monsters in the world who will pounce on anyone with passion, with idiosyncrasies, and with abstract style. But I implore you to keep it up. Passion and character are two of the most important things in this world. Never lose them. Stay gold. Thank you. Hello again, blessed review brother. I just wanted to express my heartfelt gratitude for you reaching out to the birthday shout-out to my friend. You cannot possibly imagine how elated we both were. Acolytes agog. I would also like to say that the shout-out, despite being firmly tongue-in-cheek, was absolutely serious. Our worlds were made. And on the next day, review brother rested. Wonderful video, as always, and I look forward to the second part of your sartorial editorial. Thank you. It's always a pleasure of mine to give shoutouts to anyone. Let's go to a new song here. We just finished that one. Let's go country, okay? I don't even think you could hear this. That's why I'm fine. Let's do Take a Little Ride by Jason Aldean. It's more of like a rock type country. Thank you for doing what you do. Honestly, the concept of energy drink and food reviews, while dressed nicely, seemed silly at first, which is presumably why people have been making jokes about you on social media. However, I have found you very genuinely However, I have very genuinely enjoyed seeing all your videos as well as your progression as you learn more about video making. Your professionalism and wit is wonderful to watch. And really, I just think that people can't see through the premise to appreciate the actual quality of the stuff that you make. Keep on trucking, friend. Thank you very much, my friend. Greatly appreciated. I certainly will continue on for people like you. You know, you guys are what keep me motivated here. Dear Mr. Report of the Week, I'm writing to you this evening to ask you about your thoughts on the internet. Obviously, the internet grows like a massive platform to share your thoughts, reviews, and your general interests. However, as you have said in previous reviews, the internet is also a platform for which others to direct their negative opinions at you. Furthermore, the recent revelations of how our privacy online is practically non-existent raises the question of whether the internet is really worth it. I want to know what you think. Do the positive aspects of the internet outweigh the negative aspects? Keep her lit. Well, Mr. King, the internet is an interesting thing. The internet has so much terrible things on it, or can lead to so many terrible things. However, the internet, if used correctly, can be a beautiful thing, and that's one of the great things about it. Truly, I have no problems with the internet in the least. None at all. The problem I have is social media. You know, you gotta think about it. People today are addicted to all that stuff. There's a video going around online, and if you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend it. It's British, and it's entitled Look Up. And I highly recommend it. Great video. But, you know, people are addicted to social media. The internet really isn't a problem. It's social media that I have a problem with. And it's not even the social media itself. It's, you know, communication is always key. And it certainly made it more convenient. It's just that it's led to addiction in majority of the population. You know, social media and smartphones is really what killed it. And is reluctant, as you may say, oh yeah, no, I'm not addicted, you know? You might want to say that, but if I had the ability to take away your smartphone and block you from social media even just for a day, you know, it would be tough, I'm sure. You know, even myself, if you want to consider YouTube to be social media, well, I'm addicted as well, but I'm not part of any of these other sites. So the internet, while it has a ton of bad stuff on it, it could be used, it could lead to many good things as well. And there are good people on the internet, you have to keep that in mind. Let's take another song here. You want to stick with the country theme? Yeah. How about Florida Georgia Line Cruise? This is maybe from NASCAR. I'm listening to this crap. Dear Review Chan, I love your reviews and I want you to keep up the good work. I don't know if you're a fan of coffee, but if you enjoy it, canned coffee might be something you could review in your Energy Crisis series. I also wanted to add that the picture that you showed of the man in the rugby helmet is from a Tom Brown show. Used for more of a... Thank you. Yeah, it was more showing the components. And dear review, bro, loved your new VORW. My PhD defense is fast approaching, and I thought I would wear this suit. Let's take a look at it. Okay. I know this modern style is not for you, but if you could try to look past that and give me some advice to a novice, what do you think? Is it proper? What would you rate it out of 10? As you can see, it is a two-button, slim-fit blazer, and I wear a black skinny tie. I thought I'd buy a similar suit in dark gray for the party afterwards. What do you think? Something like this. Kind regards. It's 2:30 a.m. in Norway now. Been sipping on Monster. Cheers. You know, it's a nice modern suit, and it actually does look alright on you. I'll definitely say that. You know, you just gotta make sure it fits. when it comes to a slim fit suit, you want to make sure that it's really, not too tight. Because if it is, and if it's too tight and too slim, it no longer looks professional, and it completely loses, whatever professionalism it once had. So you just got to make sure the fit is more traditional. If anything, you got to keep it conservative, like you are. You got the pocket handkerchief there, and as a skinny tie, at least you kept it conservative. So I'd say you look all right as you are. Just remember that if it's a 2-button suit, always button the top button and leave the bottom button unbuttoned. As for the gray suit, in my humble opinion, I think it looks a bit tight. However, if you're content with the slim fit style, I'm sure you'll have no problems with it. Once again, just make sure it still regains its professional aspect and does not become, a casual piece, if you may. So just keep that in mind. But if you stick with that, I think you'll be fine. And I wish you the best of luck. Well, we got a few more things. Hello, I like your vids, and I hope people aren't sending you a lot of hate because you don't deserve any of it. You have a lot of sincere fans. Don't let stupid, sad people get to you. Hope you keep making videos. I sure will. Don't you worry at all. Gonna have to skip a few, and I'll get to the rest of them later on. Muscle Monster, spot the similarity. Is it that you're wearing suits with wide peak lapels in all the videos? First I thought it was the collar pins, but they only appear in one of the 3 videos. Cheers. Hit the nail right on the head. It was wide peak lapel suits, double-breasted. This guy, I'm not going to read the whole thing just due to time, but that's awesome. Good evening, mate. I hope you're having a good day. Today I came across a collection of albums called the Kone Project while on MU, that's on 4chan. Thought you should check them out. They're a collection of recordings of shortwave radio from the 80s and maybe the 90s. Oh, absolutely. I've heard of the Kone Project. I've only listened to one of the CDs. I've never listened to the rest. I actually forgot about it for a while, and you actually just reminded me about it. So I'll definitely resume listening to it. The Kone Project is a really beautiful thing. It is a plethora of recordings of shortwave number stations from the 1980s and 1990s. And it's beautiful for enthusiasts such as myself. 2 more and that's it. Dear Mr. Report of the Week, first of all, I hope you are well, and I hope you've been getting enough sleep recently. I too am a night owl of sorts. In fact, it's 4:26 in the AM as I compose this message. Anyway, I just wanted to show my support for your portfolio of video and audio shows. They bring me much relaxation and comfort in the long rainy evenings common in my homeland in northwestern England, and I'm particularly fond of your VORW shows, as you are able to express your thoughts and opinions on various topics that wouldn't be suitable for your equally enjoyable food and drink reviews. I do have a few questions for you. I would love to hear them answered on my next VORW show. Firstly, have you ever heard of the drink Iron Brew? Being a Brit, I am completely unaware as to whether the drink is available in the States. Either way, it is a popular soda drink founded in Scotland, and although it is not strictly speaking an energy drink, I'm sure you would like it. I can one day imagine it becoming a staple of your diet. In addition, I'm wondering whether you have an interest in ancestry or family trees. I'd love to hear more about you and where your relatives originate from. However, if this breaches your personal information standards, I completely understand. No sweat. Either way, keep up the fantastic work. Look forward to each and every video we release. Kind regards from Manchester, UK. P.S. You should say chocolate more often. Never before have I heard that word so beautifully pronounced. Sweet chocolatey chocolate. I'll definitely check out that drink. And, researching your family history is very interesting, to see really where in the world you came from, truly. Dear Mr. Report of the Week, I was disappointed to learn you did not read out my last letter in VORW 25. Oh, don't you worry, my friend, I just did. I'm writing to you this morning to ask you what you think of all things modern. You made it quite clear in previous VORWs that you do not like modern fashion in TV and film. Are there any modern areas that you are particularly a fan of? Transport, music, art, comedy, etc. It's a formality at this stage. Keep her lit. Mr. King. There are a few modern things. I mean, listen, for the truth, I really can't say I do. Cars, for instance, I think classic cars are significantly more aesthetic than cars today. However, when it comes to efficiency, modern transportation is significantly more efficient than transport back in the day, many decades ago, 40s, 50s, 60s cars. I mean, those cars were beautiful, I think. The Chevy Bel Airs from the 50s, I mean, those were some beautiful cars, I'll tell you that right now. But the cars today are much more efficient. Music, it depends what you consider modern here. When it comes to modern music, I only prefer music that has some rock influence. I'm a really big fan of maybe 90s rock, early 2000s. And then there's some overlap. There's some songs from 2011, 2012, 2013 I'm a fan of. When it comes to music, I'm fine. I could listen to pretty much anything, or at least try anything out, so my musical taste spans through the centuries even. I could listen to the great classical symphonies of old, all the way up to, modern music. Modern art is hit or miss. Some modern art is absolutely beautiful, like my fan art. Art really is always different. It's always changing, and there's always talent out there. There's always people with artistic talent who always produce beautiful art, regardless of the year it's made. Modern comedy is terrible. Just look at me, and that's enough said. Okay. Had to read a lot of fan mail there, but that's my obligation. American Psycho, I'm on Reddit now. I've heard of it. Never watched it. There's this big black guy in the bus a while ago, public bus, who said, "Yo, you look like one of those whatever from American Psycho." I thought, yeah, it's nice. Yeah, who knows? Pretty much all there is for Reddit. Someone actually recommended water reviews. Now I'll have to see. Maybe at some point. Who knows? If I really run out of things. That concludes today's fan mail. Yes, that was interesting. A good mix of stuff in there. And it was a pleasure to receive all of your feedback. And I anticipate, more for the next VORW show. So, with that being said, let's continue where we left off last time, talking about my style. Now, there's a difference between fashion and style, and you have to keep that in mind. What is the difference? Do tell. Many people use the terms fashion and style interchangeably. Many people do. Oh, is that in fashion? Is that in style? Oh, you gotta be in style or else you look like expletive. Right, those two terms are used interchangeably by many people. But in fact, fashion and style are two different things. Fashion is the latest, up-to-date clothing. Even outlandish to a degree. Fashion is... It's like those guys, for instance, and once again, I don't discriminate, but I'm a guy and I specialize in men's clothing. When it comes to it, I don't know a thing or two about women's clothing, and I would prefer not to embarrass myself any more than I already am. So we'll just focus on men's clothing here, but fashion is the most up-to-date, right, almost forward clothing. You know, some examples of fashion today might be those Uber tight suits, you know, that guys wear, but with the skinny ties, right? Or in some cases, the all too dreaded fedora. All sorts of crazy, outlandish outfits. They just see how the male models going down the runway with all those weird outfits. You know, Tom Brown, or Tom Brown, I think that's his name. I know I'm getting the name wrong, but some famous fashion designer with these really tight suits. Style, however, is not fashion. Style is a certain type of clothing. Say you're into 1940s clothing. That's style. The way I dress is a certain style of clothing. The same could go for the people who only wear those tight suits. That's their style. A style is the way someone dresses. I remember hearing a good saying, fashion is fleeting. Style is forever. And I thought, that's a beautiful saying. Because it's true. Fashion changes. Even week by week it changes. Month to month. Season by season. Style is forever. Of course, new styles emerge, but the old ones carry on and continue on. They live on. So let's pick up where we left off last time, shall we? Last time we discussed, I believe it was the suit jackets we were talking about. We just finished them. The ideal suit jackets, and you heard me talk about that in the last VORW show, have a variety of components. They should be maybe 3-button. If they're 2-button, they should have broader lapels. They could be double-breasted. They have to have a nice jacket length, though. They cannot just go down to your waist. They have to go longer. They should pretty much go to maybe your upper thigh, maybe even a little longer if you prefer that. But they should definitely be a little longer in cut. They could have vents. They could have a back vent, 2 vents, or no vent. And for me, the ideal jacket should have a little bit of padding. It really should. It shouldn't be, skin tight as some are today. You should have your room to freely move about. And should have some padding. Now, what do you wear over a jacket? What could you wear with a jacket? We'll focus on suits and suit accessories before we move on to other clothing. You could wear a vest with a suit jacket. A vest is a pretty innocuous item, but a vest should be at least of the like color or pattern of the suit you'll wear with. A black pinstripe suit should have a black pinstripe vest. A gray suit should have a solid gray vest. Right, and so on and so forth. Vests, I really don't care about the buttoning. It just shouldn't have too many or too little buttons. Even a 4-button vest is fine. And I know there's some rule going that was once, I suppose, more common. For some king, might have been King Henry VIII. Terrible. There was some king of old, though, who was a more portly man. And in honor of him, you would unbutton the bottom button of your vest. I find that looks, at least on me, idiotic, so I button my vest up all the way. Bottom button buttoned and all. So, all buttons on the vest should be buttoned. They all should. Now, what does sometimes an individual wear over a suit? A coat that goes over the garment. An overcoat, as it's called. You could have various coats. You should at least own a black top coat. Pea coats are a little fashion forward, in my opinion, and I used to wear. I still wear one for everyday wear in the winter. Something I really don't care about. Something that could, get stained and have the battle the elements. But preferably for better occasions, I recommend almost a full-length black overcoat, single-breasted with lapels, probably 3 or 4 buttons there. For warmer weather, or as in a rainy day, I recommend a classic tan raincoat. I'm more of a fan of actually the single-breasted raincoat, not the double-breasted trench coat. So I prefer the single-breasted tan raincoat. For formal occasions, I recommend, and these are very, very difficult to find in 2014, but if I was able to attain one, you can too. I recommend for formal occasions a double-breasted Prince Albert frock coat. So I really do recommend that for formal occasions, but they're very difficult to come by nowadays. Alright, well, we've gone on a little longer than I anticipated with this. So you might have to go into 3 parts. And you know what? It's no problem of mine. Now we got another guaranteed show. Just getting a glass of water here. I need one. Water is nice. Okay. Let's talk about belts and then pants and shoes and socks, and then we'll call it a day. Or a night now. It's night. I'm sitting in a dark room. Alright. So belts. Personally, I'm a fan of the traditional belt, you know? Suspenders, or braces, as some call them, are alright, but only when they're used correctly. You know, so many people try to wear braces and suspenders, and they just don't end up looking well at all. So they have to be worn correctly. They have to be paired well, and they have to look good. You know, I personally just keep it traditional for the most part, with just a regular belt. Now, when it comes to a regular belt, I recommend a leather belt. Of course, if you're against all that, suppose you could find an alternative, but I use a leather belt. Always black. Always black. And that's simple. Black leather belt. That's all you need. You know, a lot of guys now are wearing those cloth elastic belts, and listen, those just aren't professional. They're too informal, they're too modern. I'm never gonna wear them. So when it comes to belts, I just keep it purely traditional. Now, pants are an interesting thing. Alright. Pants today are what really makes the modern suits despicable, in my opinion. They're too tight nowadays. They're too tight and they're too short. The ideal pair of pants for me should be, of course I'll make exceptions, but ideally, the ideal pair of pants should be pleated. That offers more room, and I also like the way it looks. Should be pleated, creased, and if possible cuffed at the bottom. And the pants, you know, should definitely have some length to them. They shouldn't look like high water pants or anything. They shouldn't be too long either, but if they really shouldn't bunch up too much at the bottom, but if they do a tiny bit, that's fine. So I prefer my comfort when I need pants, and when I wear pants. You know, when I'm wearing don a pair of pants for the day, I'm usually sitting for a while, and you know, let's face it, if pants are too tight, it's going to be uncomfortable to any individual. So I prefer both, you know, the way they look, and I also prefer, you know, room, because comfort is key. If something's uncomfortable, you don't want to wear it. And it's that simple. that being said, I would recommend owning, well, obviously the suit pants for each and every suit. But I also recommend having various pairs of dress pants. I recommend having at least 2 or 3 pairs of just plain, solid black pants, a pair of black pinstripe pants, at least 2, maybe 3 pairs of gray pants, a light gray and a dark gray. I also have a dark gray pinstripe. You should have about 5 to 7 pairs of khakis, pair of khaki dress pants, pair of seersucker pants, but that could go for seersucker suit for warmer weather, pair of navy blue pants if you wish. I think that's about it. You could also go with dark green, but that usually works best with a suit. Mostly dark colors, dark conservative colors. I know some guys today are wearing those weird pants, those teal ones and those red ones and those godforsaken yellow ones, and it's a disgrace to menswear, and I really do not suggest that at all. Just keep it traditional and conservative. That's what I go with. Same thing applies to socks. Some guy was telling me that your socks should always match your tie. I thought that was utter BS. Socks should go with either the pants or the shoes. It really could go either way, but that's it. So most of the time, since I almost always wear black shoes, I wear black socks. Usually solid black socks. However, patterns are acceptable. Argyle socks are fine, as are socks with subtle patterns, and they shouldn't have any really outrageous patterns. I figure the less attention you attract, the better. Alright? You really don't want to be the star of the show. That's how I consider it. You want to do something that's subtle, yet acceptable, or some people may say classy. But I feel terrible saying that about myself. Anyway, I just try to go as subtle as possible. ASAP, right? As subtle as possible. So that's my policy. When it comes to shoes, I recommend, so many people say, oh, you gotta go for these $2,000 loafers or something like that. No, you don't. Don't listen to them. Go with just classic black Oxford shoes. You could also go with black dress boots. I'm not a real big fan of loafers, but really that's all you need to do. And remember, gentlemen, no matter what, wear socks. And don't wear short socks either. Wear at least decent taller socks. So when you're sitting down, you should not be able to see your legs. It's that simple. Or see any skin, should I say. When it comes to shoes, though, just make them black always. Always. I know people say, oh, you could only wear brown shoes with this suit, and black shoes with this suit, and gray shoes with this suit. And no, once again, these are all just the fashionistas of the world talking, and you don't need to listen to them. Alright? You wear black shoes, just buy 2 pairs of black shoes and you're fine. Okay, that's it. That's all you need. Don't waste your money on anything else unless you really want to buy a pair of brown shoes or a pair of whatever color shoes. All you need is 2 pairs of black shoes and you're fine. Because black shoes go with anything. Don't listen to what they have to say. You could wear black shoes with a brown suit. You could wear black shoes with a gray suit or a navy suit or a dark green suit. They work. Don't listen to those guys. They work. They work just fine. Just keep your shoes in good condition, polish them, and just take care of them, and they'll last. They will. I mean, my feet really haven't grown at all. So, I have 1 pair of dress shoes that's, probably 2 years old at least. And it's still in excellent condition. It's as shiny as ever. And I wear it every day, pretty much. It's my daily pair, what I wear out every day. And they're in excellent condition because I take care of it and I shine it every single morning before I start my day. I always take care of it very, very well. When it comes to shining your shoes, you could use two types. For a quick shine, in the mornings before you start off the day, before you're going to head out, I recommend just using the liquid polish with the sponge. Alright, that's easy, it gets the job done. However, when you have more time, maybe I recommend doing this maybe once or twice a week. Sit down and use a shoe shine kit. We actually will take the wax, or the physical polish, and you'll apply it with a dabber and an applicator, and then you'll use the cloth and actually physically shine it in. And that offers a better, more longer-lasting shine, but it requires more work. But, you get what you put in. That's the truth. You really get what you put in. I usually shine my shoes like that every, usually Friday for the weekend. That's when I break out my best. While many, usually kick back and, wear leisure clothing, I break out my best on the weekends. So that's what I recommend. I have the full shoe shine kit, of course, but, you could look into it. If you don't want to spend too much money on it if you don't want to, but if you really want to care about your shoes, which I do, then invest in a kit like that. Well. I suppose that's it. We'll cover the rest of this stuff tomorrow. We'll cover, now different types of clothing, leisure wear, all that stuff, the different dress codes that I go by. So we'll cover all that on the next show. Thank you all. I'll upload this tomorrow on Tuesday the 10th. So I'll do that first thing. Thank you all and take care. This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing off.